Good afternoon, friends. This is your next lecture for database management system. Okay, here is the various. In today's lecture, we have to cover the various features in distributed system. In database management implements distributed system shared memory model in an exceedingly distributed system that has not any physically shared memory. The shared model provides a virtual address space shared between any number of nodes. The DSM system hides the remote communication mechanisms from the application appliance author, protecting the programming easy and quality typical of shared memory system. Okay, types of features. There are four types of features. First one is method failure. Sorry, types of failure. There are four types of failure. First one is method failure. Second one is system failure. Third one is secondary storage failure. And next one is communication medium failure is there. Okay, these are explained as following below. First failure is method failure. In this type of failure, the distributed system is generally halted and unable to perform the execution. Sometimes it leads to ending of the execution resulting in an associated incorrect outcome. Method failure causes the system state to divide from specifications, and also method might fail to progress. Okay, in that there is a behavior and recovery is there. Behavior, it may be understood as is incorrect computation like product protection, violation, deadlock, timeout, user input, etc. is performed, then the method stops its execution. Second one is recovery. Method failure can be prevented by aborting this method or restarting it from its prior state. Second failure is system failure. In system failure, the processor associated with the described system failed to perform the execution. Okay, here the execution is failed. Okay, this is caused by computer code error and hardware issues. Hardware issues may involve CPU, memory, bus failures. Okay, this is assumed that whenever the system stops its execution due to some fault, then the interior state is lost. Behavior is there. It is concerned with physical and logical unit of the processor. The system may freeze, reboot, and also it does not perform any functioning, leading it to go in an ideal state. Okay. Recovery. This can be called by rebooting the system as soon as possible and configuring the features point, failure point, and wrong state. Third type of failure is the secondary storage device failure. A storage device failure is claimed to have occurred once the keeping once the keep information can't be accessed. This failure is sometimes caused by priority error, head crash, or dirt particles settle on the medium. What happened? Secondary storage like pen drive is there. Okay, what happened there? We put our pen drive anywhere. That time dust is there. Then it gets inside, and then that time also it can be show the error while connecting. It cannot properly set on that USB cord. Okay. Behavior is there. Stored information can't be accessed. Error means fixing failures are priority reader, hair cache, etc. Recovery designing strategies. We construct the content from the achieve and the log of activities and start reflected this system. A system failure will additionally be classified as follows. First one is associate cognitive state failure. a partial cognitive state failure. Third one is a disruption failure, and next last one is a halting failure is there. Fourth type of failure is communication medium failure. A communication medium failure happens when a website cannot communicate with another operational site within the network. Okay, it's typically caused by the failure of the shift node and or the link of the human activity system is there. Behavior is a website cannot be communicate with another operational site. Error or fault is the failure of shift nodes or communication links are there. Next one is recovery or design strategies. Rewrote error resistant communication protocol. Is your website a failure? Three reasons site fail. Okay. First one is your website is not fast. A slow site is one of the top reasons website fail. Okay. Why can a slow site cause website failure? No matter your industry, product or service, a slow website can prove deadly to your website success. Why? People don't want to wait for your page or site to load. They are on a mission to get something done whenever, whether it's researching a topic, comparing service prices, or finding a new recipe for tonight dinner. They want answer and they want them now. That's why more than 50% of users abandon site that load after more than 3 seconds. Right? They are also doing same thing. We can't wait to long time to load the site. Right? If your website speed is more than 3 seconds or even 2 seconds, and most users expect site to load in 2 seconds, you may have found the cause behind your website failure. Give your site the best chance to add success by prioritizing fix for the problem. Companies that make page speed a priority can experience a range of benefits. A business that increases its site speed by 1 second. For example, increasing its conversion by 7%. Even better, they experience longer sessions, meaning people spend more time on the company website. Okay, how do I make my website faster? Create a faster website. Include several different solutions and approaches including. First one is compressing site image with a tool like Coach or Charactering. Minifying code like JavaScript, HTML and CSS by removing unnecessary characters like commas. Okay. Third one is reducing the number of redirects or 301. Using browser caching decrease how often browsers need to reload your page. Next is improving server response times by fixing performance bottlenecks and more. In most cases, you will need the help of a developer to implement these changes. Sorry. While you can probably compress site image with easy. Okay? Optimizing code may prove challenging without a developer background. If you don't have an internal development team, you can invest in page speed optimization services, which help your business maintain a fast site. Okay. Second one is your website is not easy to use. Then site can also flip because you're confusing or frustrating for people to use. Why can a hard to use site cause website failure? A hard A hard to use site can result in website failure for a few reasons, including first reason is people can't view or find the information they need. Second one is people can't take the action they want. And third one is people can't access your site. Essentially, a poorly designed site prevents users from doing what they and you want. Okay? When it comes to web design, you want to provide seamless customer experience. People should move from one page to another with ease. They should not have to think about what they need to do because your website provides an intuitive experience. A few web design elements that can lead to poor usability and frustrating user experiences include first one is navigation menu, second one is typography, third one is clickable element, fourth one is layout, and fifth one is color palette. Okay, on what perspective on the impact of poor usability of your website performance. Consider this fact. Almost 90% of users shop with competitors after a poor user experience. It's no surprise that that usability is one of the top reasons for the website failure. Okay, how do I make my website easier to use? If you want to make your website a place that users and web designers love, take the following steps. First one is ask friends, family members, and co-workers to complete a task on your site. Then monitor their action and reactions as they try to complete the task. Okay. Next is request feedback on your site loop as well as what made the task difficult. Okay. Then how do I make my website SEO friendly? Okay, then what we have to do, then while creating an SEO friendly website can serve as one of the most challenging fixes for a failing website. It also offers a biggest impact. You can improve not only your position in search results but also increases the critical company number like sales and revenue. If you want to optimize your website for SEO, review the basics of SEO from keywords to title tags. Once you learn the basics of SEO, you can move forward with SEO strategy. Start by auditing your website whether manually, professionally, or with an SEO checkers. Your audit will provide the foundation for your SEO plan. Every SEO plan is different, but they all include a focus on following factors. First one is researching keywords or search terms used by people. Second one is optimizing the title tag, meta description, and content of page. Third one is creating new website page like blog posts that target new high value keywords. Okay. Third one is improving page speed. Fifth one is building a responsive website that display on all devices from laptop to smartphones. Okay. Next one is networking with industry leaders and bloggers and more. How do I make my website SEO friendly? Right? We have go through it. Then every SEO plan is different, but they all include a focus on the following factors: researching keywords or search term used by people. Second one is optimizing the title tag, meta descriptions, and contents of pages. Third one is creating new website page like blog posts that target new and high keywords. Okay, improving page speed, building a responsive website is there, right? Building a responsive website that display on all devices from laptops or smartphones. Networking with industry leaders and bloggers and more. Here is the while creating a SEO friendly website can serve as one of the most challenging fix for a falling website. It also offers the biggest impact. You can improve not only your position in search with result but also increase the critical company numbers like sales and revenue. If you want to optimize your website for SEO, review the basics of SEO from keywords to title tags. Once you learn the basics of SEO, you can move forward with your SEO strategy. Start by auditing your website, whether manually, professionally, or with an SEO checkers. Your audit will provide the foundation for your SEO plan. You can also partner with an SEO agency if your team does not have the resource or time to dedicate to SEO. Via the agency's SEO service, your company can optimize its site, prevent website failure, and improve its revenue. The loss of message is there handled by the network transmission. Loss of messages handled by network transmission control protocol such as TCP/IP transmission control protocol. Okay, TCP is the main protocol which handle the loss of message. Okay, the transmission control protocol. T stands for transmission, C stands for control, P stands for protocol. Is a transport protocol. The transmission control protocol is a transport protocol that is used on top of IP to ensure reliable transmission of packets. TCP includes mechanisms to solve many of the problems that arises from packet-based messaging, such as a lost packets, out of order packets, duplicate packets, and corrupted packets. Since TCP is a protocol used for commonly on top of IP, the Internet Protocol Stack is sometimes referred to as TCP/IP. Pocket format. When sending packets using TCP/IP, the data portion of each IP packet is transmitted as a TCP segment. Diagram of the TCP segment within an IP packet. The IP packet contains the header and data section. The IP data sections is a TCP segment, which itself contains the header and data sections. Each TCP segment contains a header and data. The TCP header contains many more fields than the UDP header and can range in size from 20 to 60 bytes. Depending on the size of the option field, the TCP header shares some field in a UDP header. Source port number, destination port number, and checksum. To remember how those are used, review the UDP article. From start to finish, let's step through the process of transmitting a packet with TCP/IP. Step number 1 is establish the connection. When two computers want to send When two computers want to send data to each other over TCP, they first need to establish a connection using a three-way handshake. Diagram of two computers with arrow between. Arrow goes from computer 1 to computer 2 with sync label. Arrow goes from computer 2 to computer 1 with acknowledgement sync label. Arrow goes from the computer 1 to computer 2 with acknowledgement. The first computer send a packet with the sync bit sent to 1111. Sync is equals to the synchronize. The second computer sent back a packet with the acknowledgement ACK bit set to 1111. ACK means acknowledged plus the sync bit set to 1111. Then first computer replies back with an acknowledgement. The sync and acknowledgement bit are both part of the TCP header. Diagram of the TCP header with a row of field. Each row is 32-bit long. The first row contains a 16-bit source port number and 16-bit destination port number. The second row contains a 32-bit sequence number. The third row contains a 32-bit acknowledgement number. The fourth row contains a 4-bit data offset number. 6 bits that are marked as reserved, 6 control bit UART, ACK, PSH, RST, SYN and FIN, and a 16-bit window size number. The 55th row contains a 16-bit checksum and 16-bit urgent pointer. The header ends with the option and padding which can be of variable length. The acknowledgement and sync bit are highlighted on the fourth row of the header. In fact, the three packets involved in three-way handshake do not typically include any data. Once the computers are done with a handshake, they are ready to receive packets containing actual data. Step 2 is send packets of data. When a packet of data is sent over TCP, the recipient must always acknowledge with they received. Okay. Diagram of two computers with arrow between. Arrow goes from computer 1 to computer 2 and show a box of binary data and label sequence 1. Arrow goes from computer 2 to computer 1 with acknowledgement label. The first computer sends a packet with data and a sequence number. The computer acknowledges it by setting the acknowledge bit and increase the acknowledgement number by the length of the received data. The sequence and acknowledgement number are part of the TCP header. Each row is 32-bit long in header. The first row contains 16-bit source port number and 16-bit destination port number. The second row contains a 32-bit sequence number. The third row contains a 32-bit acknowledgement number. The fourth row contains a 4-bit data offset number, 6 bits that are marked as reserved 6 control bit UART, ACK, PSH, RST, SYN and FIN, and 16-bit window size number. The fifth row contains a 16-bit checksum and 16-bit urgent pointer. The header ends with option and padding which can be of variable length. The 32-bit sequence and acknowledgement number are highlighted. Those two numbers help to the computer to keep track of which data was successfully received, which data was lost, and which data was accidentally sent twice. Step number 3, close the connection. Intercomputer can close the connection when they no longer want to send or receive data. Okay, arrow goes from one computer 1 to computer 2 with FIN label. Arrow goes from computer 2 to computer 1 with acknowledgement FIN label. Arrow goes from computer 1 to computer 2 with acknowledgement label. A computer initiate closing the connection of sending a packet with the FIN bit set to 1, that is finish. FIN means finish. The other computer replies with an acknowledgement and another finish. After one more acknowledgement from the initiating computer, connection is closed. Okay, what happened here? Here, one computer communicate with another computer, take the response from they want or not. That is means acknowledgement is there. Clear? After getting acknowledgement, then and then only first computer start the work. Okay. TCP connection can delete lost package using a timeout. We can delete the packets after timeout. Diagram demonstrating retransmission of the packet from one computer to another computer. Arrow goes first computer to second computer and is labeled with sequence hash 1 and a string of binary data. A stopwatch is shown in various stages after the arrow. First with 0 time passes, then half the time passes, then all time passes, and in an alarm set, the another arrow goes from the first laptop to another second laptop labeled the same as the first. After sending off the packets, the sender starts a timer and puts the packets in a retransmission queue. If the timer runs out and the sender has not yet received an acknowledgement from the recipient, it sends the packet again. The retransmission may lead to the recipient receiving duplicate packets. If a packet was not actually lost but just very slow to arrival or be acknowledged, if so, the recipient can simply discard duplicate packets. It's better to have the data twice than not at all. Handling out of other packets. The TCP connection can delete out of order packets by using the sequence and acknowledgement number. What happened here? Arrow goes from computer 1 to computer 2 and shows a box of binary data with the label sequence 1. Arrow goes from computer 2 to computer 1 with the label acknowledgement hash 37. Arrow goes from computer 1 to computer 2 and shows a box of binary data with the label sequence 73. Arrow goes from computer 2 to computer 1 with the label acknowledgement numbers 37. When the receipt sends a higher sequence than number than what they want have acknowledged so far, they know that they are missing at least one packet in between. In the situation picture above, the recipient sends a sequence number of 73 but expected a sequence number of 37. The receipt leads the sender know there's something amiss by sending a packet with an acknowledgement number set to the expected sequence number. Sometimes the missing packets is simply taking a slower route through the internet and in arrival soon after. Diagram of TCP packet arriving out of order. Two computers are shown. Okay, here arrow label third sequence 1 start from computer 1 and end soon after at computer 2. An arrow label acknowledgement 31 start from computer 2 and end soon after and computer 1. An arrow label with sequence 37 start from computer 1 and does not end until much later at computer 2. An arrow label sequence 73 start from computer 1 and end soon after and computer. Before the arrow of sequence 37, an arrow label acknowledgement 37 start from the computer 2 and end soon after and computer 1. The other time the missing packets may actually be lost packet and the sender must retransmit the packet. Okay. Here is the steps for sending an arrival. Forever an arrow label sequence 1 start from computer 1 and end soon after at computer 2. An arrow label acknowledgement 37 start from computer 2 and end soon after and computer 1. An arrow label sequence 37 start from computer 1 and end before reaching computer 2 with an X indicating it was lost. An arrow label sequence 73 start from computer 1 and end soon after at computer 2. An arrow label acknowledgement 37 start from computer 2 and end soon after and computer 1. An arrow label sequence 37 start from computer 1 and end soon after the computer 2. In both situations, the recipient has to deal with out of order packets. Fortunately, the recipient can use the sequence number to reassemble the packets data in the correct format order. Okay. Network portion is there. Network portion or split brain is a condition where a network failure can be misinterpreted as a failure of two or more nodes in a cluster. If one system in the cluster incorrectly assumes that another system failed, it may restart application already running on the other system, thereby corrupting data. SFS tries to prevent this by having redundant heartbeat links. At least one link must be active to maintain the integrity of the cluster. If all the links go down after the last network link is broken, the node can no longer communicate with other nodes in the cluster. Thus, the cluster is in one of two possible states. Either the last network link is broken, called a network portion condition, or the last network link is okay but the node crashes, in which case it is not a network portion problem. It is not possible to identify whether it is the first or second state. So a kernel message is issued to indicate that a network portion may exist and there is possibility of data corruption. Jeopardy is a condition where a node in the cluster has a problem connecting to other nodes. In the situation, the link or disk habit may be down, so a jeopardy warning may be displayed specifically. This message appears when a node has only one reminder. Jeopardy is a connection where a node in a cluster has a problem connecting to other nodes. This situation, the link or disk habit may be down, so a jeopardy warning may be displayed. Especially this message appears when a node has only one remaining link to a cluster and that link is a network link. This is considered a critical event because the node may lose its only remaining connections to the network. Network partitions occur when a cluster breaks into two or more partitions. As a result, the node in each partition are unable to locate or communicate with nodes in another partitions. This results in an unintentionally partitioned networks. In the event of the network partition in a distributed system like Red Hat GSBOS data grid, the CAP theorem comes into play. The CAP theorem states that it is the event of the network partition a distributed system can provide either consistency or availability for the data but not both. By difficult partition handling is disabled in JBoss data grid during a network partition. A partition continues to remain available at least at the cost of consistency. However, when partition handling in enabled JBoss data grip prioritize consistency C of data over availability. Red Hat JBoss data grid offers the primary partitions strategy to repair and split networks. When the network partition occurs and the cache is split into the two or more partitions, it may one partition become the primary partition and the other partition become the other are designated as secondary partitions. When the partition merge back into a single cache, the primary partition is then used as a reference for all secondary partitions. All members of the secondary partitions must remove their currency state, current state information, and replace it with fresh state information. Okay. From a member of primary partition. If there was no longer partition during the split, the state every node is assumed to be a correct. In JBoss data grid, a cache consists of a JBoss data grid. The cache consists of data stored on a number of nodes to prevent data loss. If a node fails, JBoss data grid replaces the data item over a multiple node. To prevent data loss, if a node fails, JBoss data grid replicates a data item over a multiple nodes. Okay. In distribution mode, In distribution mode, this redundancy is confirmed using the owner's configuration attribute, which specifies the number of replicas for each cache entry in the cache. As a result, as long as the number of nodes that have failed are less than the value of owners, JBoss data grids retains a copy of the lost data and can recover the detecting and recovering data recovering from a split brain problem. When a split brain problem When a split brain occurs in the data grid, each network partition installs its own J group view with node from other partitions removed. The partitions remain un- unaware of each other. Therefore, there is no way to determine how many partitions the network has split into. Red Hat JBoss data grid assumes that the cache has unexpectedly tendly split if one or more nodes disappear from the J group cache without sending an explicit leaving message, while in reality the case can be J group cache without sending an explicit leaving message from while in reality the cause can be physical to virtual. Okay, in physical there is crash switch, cable failure, etc., and virtual stop the world garbage collection. This site is dangerous because each of the newly split partitions operates independently and can store conflicting updates for the same data entries. When partition handling mode is enabled, okay, and JBoss data grid suspect that one or more nodes are no longer accessible, each partition does not start a rebalance immediately, but first it checks whether it should enter degraded mode. Instead to enter degraded mode, one of the following conditions be true. Okay, at least one significant has lost all its owners, which means that a number of nodes equals to or greater than the value of owners has left the J group data view. The partition does not contain a majority of nodes greater than half of the nodes from the latest stable topology. The stable topology is updated each time a rebalance operation successfully concluded, and the coordinator determines that addition balancing is not required. If neither of the conditions are met, the partition continue normal operation and JBoss data grid attempts to rebalance its node. Based on these conditions, at most one partition can remain in available mode. Other partitions will enter degraded mode. When a partition enters into degraded mode, it only allows read write access to those entries for which all owners of the entry exist on nodes within the same partition read and write. Okay, request for an entry for which one or more of its owners exist on nodes that have disappeared from the partition are rejected with an availability exceptions. When partitions merge after a network partitions has occurred, if any one of the partitions has available during the network partition, then the joining partitions are wiped out and state transfer occur from the available partition to the joining node. All if all joining partitions were degraded during the split brain, then no state transfer occurred During the merge, the combined cache is then available only if the merging partitions contains a simple majority of the member in the latest table topology, one with the highest topology ID and has least an owner for each segment, that is key are not lost. Here in this slide we studied handling of failure, right? If the coordinator and all its participants remain in one portion, the failure has no effect on the commit protocol. If the coordinator and its participants belongs to several partitions site that are not in the partition containing the coordinator think the coordinator has failed and execute the protocol to deal with failure of the coordinator. No harm result, but site may still have no way to wait for decision and coordinator. In the coordinator and the site are in the same partition as the coordinator think and the site in the other partition have failed and follow the usual commit protocol, again no harm result is there. Okay, in next lecture we will go through the recovery and concurrency control single lock manager. Okay, single lock manager approach, then distributed lock manager and primary copy. We in next lecture we end up this topic. Thank you for today's session.